Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Super Real Human. Today, we are digging back in to Shift Happens, my mini series on life as sort of with a dual role in my business as a fractional CMO and as a coach. And how the heck do you pull off being a mindful marketing coach and acting as part of a senior leadership team as a chief marketing officer on a fractional basis? Pretty good question. So let's dig in to what that looks like. And you could do a day in the life. I'm going to kind of run you through this week in particular because it's a little bit wonky. It's a little bit interesting. Um, but it follows up on what we talked about last time. So, quick recap. Last time we talked about how over the past year, 9 months to a year, I have been the fractional CMO for one of my clients. And it has been a complete and utter joy. And while I love coaching with all of my heart and soul, I had forgotten that I also really love a little bit of that office environment, a little bit faster paced, a little more consistency um, of the chief marketing officer world. So, really interesting because I have learned that I am not going to compromise the mindfulness that I bring to coaching, and that I bring to my own world of being an entrepreneur, but more, how do I bring those two together? And so this past year has almost been a little bit of an experiment, hence the shift happens, because I have gone from supporting a handful of bigger clients, but mostly doing smaller one-on-one small business owner coaching work, little bit of implementation, to really splitting my role to what I kind of look at as both ends of the spectrum. Um, but what I have learned throughout this process is it brings so many benefits to each type of those clients, and I am here for it. I am loving it. And I thought it was kind of interesting. So I wanted to walk you through it because I think that it really gives you something to think about. So if you're looking to hire a coach, what do you look for in a coach and why? Right? If you are a business or an organization and you're looking for somebody to take that senior marketing role as a chief marketing officer and be part of your senior leadership team, but you're not sure if you want to make it a full-time role, if you're looking for somebody to fill the gap, is it an interim position? Is it a coverage situation? What are you looking for there? And so, when I came into the fractional CMO role, it started off as an analysis, right? The chief marketing officer had left, and it was more of a question. I was brought in to do an analysis of what does the department need? What does it need to grow? What kind of coaching opportunities are there available for the team that exists? It's a rather young team. Um, so how do we get to, hold things together, grow them in a way that makes sense. And what we found was that there was so much opportunity and there hadn't been a lot of far out strategic planning. And so the opportunity laid in what we could do, right? There was a lot that we could do. And since then, the team has grown. I'm managing a team and also managing the strategy and part of the senior leadership team. And those are all awesome things. And it's great because when you're part of a bigger organization, you get to see the needle moving and you get to see what you're doing and you get to change things in real time. And that's pretty darn cool. So this week, right, let's walk you through sort of what this particular week is looking like. And I'm going to start with the little disclaimer that this week is a little abnormal because next week is vacation. So um, I don't know about you. I find it very important to unplug on vacation, and I cannot help myself, but there is always some sort of business project for my business that I save to work on vacation because I won't be distracted from everything else. Now, whether that's BS, which is quite possible, and it's just my like type triple A trying to creep back in, but um, I'm actually kind of excited about what it looks like this week. So this week for me, right? Started with team meeting, right? We start every Monday morning with a team meeting. And so as a fractional CMO, I pull our team together and we've got a long-term employee, we have somebody who just started, and we have an intern. for the summer. And we basically sit down and we talk about what's good. We talk about what didn't get completed last week or what challenges we ran into so that I can help clear the roadblocks. We talk about what's on our plates for this week and where everybody needs support, how I can be of assistance, how I can move things around, organizationally, to get things done. And then we talk about, when are we going to check in one-on-one later in the week. It's great. It's functional. And then we dug into some budget forecasting. So I'm working with one of the team members to really learn how not just to track what's currently happening and that we're staying within the budget, but how to forecast out, right? What do we need to look at? How do we need to track it? How do we need to reconcile things so that we know that we're on track and we're not going to, blow the budget by, before the end of the year. And that we're not going to sort of miss opportunities along the way, and how can we maximize the dollars that we have to invest in marketing efforts. Um, so that was sort of fun. And then I had an appointment and I've got a couple of other things. I'm recording this episode and I've got a call at 5 and then I have to pick up a kiddo. Because we are 3 drivers with 3 lives and 2 cars. So that's how we roll here. All right. So the rest of the week, senior leadership team meeting. Then I have a meeting with my virtual assistant to talk about client work for some of the coaching clients and the smaller clients, as well as some of my own marketing stuff, right? Like helping me get stuff put together. So that's super exciting. And then we've got a call with a media partner for that CMO client to get our monthly reports, see what the results have been, see if we need to talk about pivoting strategy, which knock on wood, we haven't had to yet. Things are going great. Um, Talk about some of the new campaigns we have running, and then put together our quarterly report for a board meeting. Then we have a call with our Google partner for the same exact reason to do the same things. And then a call with a client to review sort of what is happening in their world and where they need support. Following up, we have weekly client check-ins. Those happen mostly for me on Thursdays because Wednesday is a fractional CMO day. So we'll take care of that stuff on Wednesday. Thursday, we'll do other client check-ins and coaching client check-ins. And then we have a lunch with the royal we, has a lunch with a one of my unnetworking regulars, just to sort of catch up. We are not doing our unnetworking events during the summer. And so I'm taking that opportunity to meet one-on-one with a lot of the regulars who come and just talk about what's going on, see how you're growing, see what you're doing, see if there's any support you need, etc., and just have a good time. And then Friday, I have wrap up calls because, again, next week is vacation. So we're going to do some wrap up calls with all of my clients just to make sure everybody's in a really good spot. Assigning emergency contacts for some of the folks that I work with so that they know that they are handled if they can't, for some reason, get a hold of me, although they all know very well that they know how to get me if they absolutely need me. But also, I work with people who really respect boundaries, which is great. So they're not going to bug me unless their world is on fire. So that is pretty cool. And then I also have time on Friday set aside for a special project. So that's great. Now, I said that I always save something to work on. So since this shift has happened, I have not, right? This is a do as I say, not as I do moment. I have not updated my website in a dog's age. I just haven't. I mean, I haven't really been on social media lately either because I've been doing a ton of client work, which has been making my heart and soul happy. And I would be a wicked hypocrite if I didn't take the time to work on my own marketing consistently, even if I'm fully booked, because it's what we do and it's how we stay present and visible and engaged. So, vacation is a chance for me to reset. I always love what I capture on vacation because I am in a different headspace. And so, we are going on a blended family vacation, Darren and his daughters, me and my daughters. I'm sure friends will pop in and out along the way. We're going to catch up with some folks. I just bought a book, which I'm kind of afraid I've actually read this one before. But we'll see. We'll talk more about that later. But the work project that I'm going to work on is refreshing my website because this shift has happened. I need to reflect that on what I'm promoting on my website. I no longer do social media management and I still get calls for social media management. I have great people that I can refer folks to, but I do not do it anymore. And so there's nothing more disappointing, I think, for both parties when I get a Calendly notice like, hey, you have a call. And they're like, hey, I'm calling about social media management. And I'm like, oh, I am so sorry. I don't have time for that. And it's not that I don't have time for that in a snarky kind of way. It's I don't have the time to dedicate to what I believe clients should have when they work with somebody for social media management. If you want strategy and content ideas and ways to go about it and how to manage it as part of your day to day as the person who's doing everything, I got you, but not actually creating the content for you. Because, girlfriend, I can't even get my own done. So, I'm gonna do that, but the good news is that I have a photo shoot on Wednesday this week, with the wonderful Christine McShane, and she's secured a great location, so we're gonna go and we're gonna take some new photos that really reflect what I'm doing, right? So, me as a chief marketing officer, me as a podcast host, me as a coach, right? Doing the things that I do. Just sort of me and my normal element. I'll probably be wearing this sweater in some of the shoots because I love this sweater. But that's what I'm going to be working on. I'm going to be taking that and then creating the content to really reflect what this shift has meant. Um, and so, what I really want to say today is the day in the life looks different, right? Like I just kind of spit out a schedule of most of the things that are going on this week. Part of what I love about being an entrepreneur and running my own business is that I get to make it look like what it looks like. But I also get to bring myself joy and bring others joy by doing the things that are just what I do because I love them and they work. And the more things work, the more you love them, right? At least that's how it works for me. And so I wanted to talk about this shift because things change. Shift happens. Shifts happen. Right? And that's okay. It's part of I believe it's part of the natural evolution of who we are. And when we have, you know, if you're working for somebody else, if you're working for a company, if you're in a career and, you've got a job, when you start to outgrow that and things start to shift, you either look for a different role within that organization if the organization is still a good fit, or you look for something different. You look to leave to go someplace else, someplace where you can grow. And so as business owners, sometimes we're like, "Oh my god, I can't." You're either of like one of two mindsets, right? You're like, "I can't. This is what I do. This is what I talk about, what I do, and I've got to stick with this." Stay in your lane. Or you can embrace the fact that this is natural. It happens no matter what path you're on. And it's good and it's healthy and it's exciting because it gives you a chance to challenge yourself and refresh, challenge your brain, right? Like do the things that light you up. We keep evolving and that is okay. And so I'm kind of excited to take you through this process of what this shift looks like when, I'm going from mostly coaching with strategy and a very strategic approach, right? You hear me say it all the time strategy, mindset, action. But what does it look like when your workday can be so different? Or within the course of a 5-day, 4-day, 5-day work week, your responsibilities and your tasks and the way you spend your time can look so different. For me, it is fuel. It is energy. It is fire. I love it. I'm curious to see what you think, right? Do you have this in your role, in your work? Um, And what does that look like, right? I had a mini session with a dear friend of mine, Kim, and she's a bookkeeper. She's my bookkeeper. But she also coaches people on how to do QuickBooks, how to use their QuickBooks, how to do it, right? So there are some people who want to do it on their own. They just want to learn. And then there are some people, me included, who are like, yep, it's going to get done better if you do it. So she has that sort of dichotomy too, that sort of she loves the coaching and she loves the office management and the QuickBooks and that sort of stuff. And she's a very strategic brain, but she's also extremely gifted in teaching others how to do it. And I think when you're passionate about something, like I am with marketing and strategy, it's easy to teach it and do it. But finding that balance is really important. So, um, that's kinda where I am. That's a quick glimpse at this particular week, and again, I said it's a little bit different because I'm wrapping up loose ends so that next week I can focus on my website and my content and really re-energize myself to get back into it because I kind of miss it. I'm not going to lie. I miss creating content just for me and for what I'm doing and for my clients, past, present, and future. So, don't be afraid of the shift. I guess if you want to take one thing away from this episode, it's don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. Follow what brings you joy, right? Like best pieces of advice my mom ever gave me, right? You've got to follow what brings you joy. Go after you're happy. And that can work for work too. So, if you have a shift coming, go ahead and embrace it and see how each aspect can benefit the other, right? So, we're going to talk next time about what I bring to the CMO role as a coach and why it matters, why it works, right? We're going to talk about management. We're going to talk about how to um, bring a marketing team, which can often be in a silo in certain organizations, and how you bring that into the fold, right? So that it's not a them sort of situation, but it's an us situation. That's one of my favorite things to do as a chief marketing officer on a fractional capacity is to really come in and just sort of give that breath of fresh air that like you can take a breath, right? You can remember that we're all in this together here. It doesn't rest solely on your shoulders, or you don't have to constantly be asking for help from everybody else. Like, how can this work? How can this work? So we're going to talk a lot about that next time. And then after that, give you a little bit of a sneak peek, we're going to talk about why and how I'm a better coach to my solopreneur and small business clients because I'm also a fractional CMO. So we'll talk about that in an upcoming episode as well. All right, my friends, I have a long list of things to do this week. And I'm super excited to be back here with you. I'm glad you joined me again for this episode. Stay tuned for the third episode in this Shift Happens series, and we will see you next time. Mwah. Have a good one.